questions. How many of you have ever been disrupted during a conversation by a smartphone? Take a look around, please. Hands up. Perfect. And how many of you would like to improve your quality of life? Okay, perfect. Because within the next 12 minutes, we will figure out 3 ways to improve your quality of life and control your smartphone. Because technology is now a very integral part, and luckily an integral part of all our lives. So smartphone operators have checked how often during the day their users unlock their phone during the day. And they found out it's on average 80 times a day. So 80 times a day, we let ourselves be influenced consciously, and in the meantime, it still happens subconsciously. Because studies have shown that 70 to 90% of all smartphone users perceive phantom vibrations when they have their phone in the pocket. How many of you know those phantom vibrations? Yeah, me too. So technology influences us more holistically than we might think sometimes. Technology influences our brain, our relationships, our health, and therefore our society. So there's a small challenge for us left. How do we deal with that mentally correct? Because I'm talking as a psychologist. And how is it, can we work with it mentally correct? But why am I talking about this topic today? What is my motivation behind this? For that explanation, we need to go a little bit back in time. Back then, I was a little bit smaller and had long brown braids and was maybe more energetic, even more energetic than today, and that looked like this. I asked very early several questions about human behavior, how they behave. I grew up with 4 siblings and 3 different dads, and my mom certainly reached the limits of her patience because I couldn't stop asking questions, and I couldn't sit still ever, and I don't know if I can sit still today. And from back then, I remember many situations when I stood there with my long braids, looking up to taller or older people, wanting to tell something that is really important to me, and for that person, something else was more important. And in the beginning, like when I was younger, maybe it was work, later on a tablet, and then a smartphone. And this strange feeling of, it's sad, and it's a bit of guilt, like a doubt, was it wrong to disturb that person by what she was doing? I see this feeling now coming up with the smartphone, and I see it between parents and their children, and I see it between adults anyway. Now I know, as a psychologist, in psychology there is even a term for this kind of behavior, and it's called phubbing. It is made up of phone and snub someone. And it is a form of social exclusion. It lowers the importance of the interaction partner when our smartphone is involved in a social situation. So social exclusion can have massive impacts on us. So the consequences can be that we score lower on IQ tests, that a tendency occurs to drink more alcohol or eat more food. And logically, we don't like to help other people or support other people when we got excluded because that is rude. So yeah, how do we deal with that? Habe ich was zu sagen? Okay. Why is this effect so important for us that phubbing is social exclusion? Because our relationships impact our brain, our balance, our health, and our society. Like our relationships, we are wired to connect. We are social human beings. We can't do anything about that. So it is very important because when our interaction partner gets not the respect that he deserves when we are in a conversation and just having our phone there, then we can't build trust. And phubbing even occurs when you just put your phone on the table and still talking to the person. Because studies have shown that test persons already, it causes test persons already to be not as openly as they usually are when the smartphone is just laying on the table. Face up or down, doesn't matter. So if you turn it around, no chance, still phubbing, still found as phubbing. So how do we deal with that? When I'm sitting there having my phone in my hand. How can I raise respect to a person when I'm not mentally there? And when I can't manage to raise this respect, something really, really important to us will not be paid out, and that is the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin is the cuddle hormone and is produced when we feel comfortable with other people. And oxytocin has a stress reducing, anxiety relieving, blood pressure lowering, very calming effect on us. So it's not only good for our mental health, it really improves our physical health. And oxytocin is super important, and we need this hormone to feel comfortable and to be socially connected. So that is why my first tip comes. It is the flight mode reflection. I will give you 3 really easy ways to improve to your everyday life. And the first one is the flight mode reflection, where you just put down your phone when you meet someone. Let me ask you 2 other questions. When you have a meeting with an investor, or which person is ever important in your everyday life, like an investor or someone you really need something from, would you just take out your phone, looking at it while this person is talking? Just call in yes or no. No. Okay. So your partner, your best friend, or your children, don't they deserve the same undivided attention? Yes or no? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it's really important. So just my first tip, flight mode reflection, just put your phone away at any kind of meeting, because a meeting with your friend, with your partner, with your family deserves the same undivided attention as a meeting with a business partner. And just leave your phone in a pocket, muted or on flight mode, and ask yourself afterwards 2 questions. Did I really miss something during that offline hour? And what did it to me to have this offline hour? Just try it out. Okay. Lost my point here. Ah, perfect. So we're in Germany, so I'm talking about the average German person. The average German person spends 2.5 hours a day on the smartphone. The average German person also gets 80 years old. So we have 30,000 days on this planet, and 3,000 days of these 30,000 we spend on our phones. That's a tenth. That's 8 years walking around like this. 8 fucking years. So just think about that. We really need to find a way to work with that number, like 8 years just on your mobile phone. How can we do that? It's very close to an addiction when we are 2.5 hours a day on our mobile phone. And every time we need to take a conscious look what happens when we are on our mobile phone that often. So every time our mobile phone shows us something, a notification or anything else, we get a small hormone boost of dopamine. And dopamine is a happiness hormone which has a rewarding effect on our organism. So every time I pick up my phone, I get a reward of dopamine. So accordingly, my brain thinks, oh well, I get a reward by just picking up the phone perfectly. I do that more often. And already you see yourself just working, grabbing your phone, not knowing what you wanted to do on it. It's just your brain thinking, I get a reward from it. So we need to disrupt this to be on the topic. And that's where here comes my next tip, and so, the smartphone mood barometer. It's pretty easy. I like studies as a psychologist, but every person is very individual. So the smartphone mood barometer is a tip where you track the time you are actually on your phone, because 2.5 hours is just an average. So it's really easy. Your phone already holds an application for that. And I tell you or ask you or invite you to track your smartphone display time 1 week, 7 days, and not look into the data. Just let the app track. Instead, you do the following. Every evening during this 7 days, you write down how did you felt during that day and how productive you were. And after 7 days, you take your smartphone with your numbers, your personal data, and your notebook or wherever you wrote it down, and look, what did it do to you? On the days you were more on your phone, is there something, a correlation between your mood or your productivity and your display time? don't get me wrong, I don't want to talk badly about the phone. I love technology and I use it. I don't want you to feel bad. It's just that we need to, as a society, learn how to improve our don't get the word, how we deal with the smartphone. And we need to learn as a society how this works to get better together and closer together as a society and not separated from each other. Oh no! Oh my god! Okay, so what is your vision? When the questions come, just ask how the talk will go on and I will finish. Okay, so what is your vision of a society, a good working society? Is there something peaceful, something supporting in your mind? When you think about a vision, this is really working well society. Okay, so social connection is all what it's about, and social media has two sides. I make it quick. Like the one positive side is to grow business, and the other side is envy and jealousy. And I think we as a society really need to work together, because we have so many global issues that we need to work on together. So we need to take our time to get together as a society and don't go in an upward spiral of envy and jealousy, which are dysfunctional feelings social media can create. So I will just go to my last tip, because I love it so much. When you are in the train or in the car and just looking at your phone, you close yourselves off to social spontaneous interactions. So my third tip is my favorite one, the random eye contact. When your eyes with a person meet anyway in the train, just give the person a smile. It's so easy, and maybe this person later on helps another person, it's just like throwing a stone into the water and make waves for positive togetherness. And if you want to give me 50 more seconds, I would invite you to get up and take a...
Who wants to ask the question?
How would the talk continue?
Yes, okay. I invite you to get up. Turn around to a person just next to you and just stop talking, and for a few seconds just enjoy the magic of looking another person into the eyes and create some because time is short and the mobile phone doesn't create this feeling you just had.
Okay, any more questions?
So the smartphone plays a big role in our family life, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So I want to have more family time.
Yeah.
How do I achieve it?
Okay, what is explain me the certain problem. Is it on the table or?
Let's say take the table.
Yeah, okay, then just start small. Like create a rule where everyone in your family sees a goal behind this rule. Like, okay, let's take 30 minutes in the evening when we have dinner together and we put all our smartphones in a hat or a bowl or something like that and make a game out of it. Just whoever picks the smartphone first out of the bowl has to do something embarrassing, or when you are...
We do the dishwasher, like...
Yeah, or what I do with my friends, one of the guys always has a hat on, and I put it every evening when we go out on the table. Everyone has to put the smartphones in there, and whoever picks the smartphone first out of the bowl or the hat has to pay.
I love it.
It's so easy, and people, and once you've implemented this, people love it and will do it anyway.
Very interesting topic you brought up, and obviously the audience was, very enthusiastic about it. So thanks for that. A question to the psychologist: as the neural network in our brain is always part of a training exercise where you just put some synapses together based on whatever paradigms you feel good in or whatever. So when I see my kids growing up, being socialized with all this kind of social media stuff. Being used to this kind of short things like we are now with our 12-minute pitches here and 6 minutes discussion, everything is kind of accelerating in a way where this kind of short interruption is also part of the whole process. So talking about society and better human interaction and so on, my feeling right now is we socialize a generation which simply is exactly like that with different values, where this might not be valued anymore. And I don't have a solution, but maybe you have a perspective on this one.
Yes, I think I have a perspective because I see when, I have younger siblings, as I told you, I have 4 siblings, and 3 of them are younger, and they are 19, 20, and 11, so they are this generation. And when we are with our family and I implement something like a game where everyone has to put the smartphone away or something like that, they really come up to me afterwards and say, I enjoy that. I love it. It's not on a screen. I really enjoy that. And they start to do something like this with their friends. So we need to be a role model. Otherwise it won't work. When I see 50-year-old people, fathers of 20-year-old girls sitting on the phone all the time, no wonder that the children are sitting on their phone all the time as well. I've just seen a cartoon last week of a mother and a girl sitting on a train station, reading both a book, and next to them a mother and a daughter on the train station looking at their phones, and the mother with the phone asked the mother with the book, how did you do it that your daughter is reading a book? Yeah, so we need to be a role model, otherwise we need to live and show that it's worth it to go into social interactions, and by that, as you said, our brain is wired and we have different connections. Our brain is, I don't have the words, an enormous phenomenon, because we can change it. When we start conscious actions and reflections on our behavior, our brain starts to make new connections and new neuronal streets. Yeah, so we can influence that.
Any more questions here? I would ask a question.
Yeah, of course.
My best friend, she's a sexual therapist.
Yeah.
And she does lots of trainings with couples and stuff. And she says we should not have a television in our bedroom, and we should not have cell phones in our bedroom. Would you underwrite that?
Yeah. I have my cell phone in the living room in a bowl. Bowls are very important in this topic, I just figured out. So we have, my boyfriend and I are living together, and we have a bowl where we put the smartphones in. So that it's not the last thing we look at and not the first thing we look at, because otherwise it would not be necessary to live together if you don't wake up together and don't go to bed together. So she's very right. That is the first step.
Did you try that before you were together, or was it just a normal thing when you came together?
Oh, we're together for a really long time now.
Yeah.
So we invented this together. Yeah.
Okay, so did you feel a change? What was the change?
It was like having gentle eyes for each other. When you go to bed, saying good night, and when you wake up, saying simple things like good morning, how did you sleep? It's nothing more. It's just being present with the other person, and that's what it's all about. In every relationship we have, as I said, the example with the investor, it's about being present. If you only have 5 minutes, it doesn't matter when you are present in this 5 minutes. Keep the eye contact up and be there with your whole body language, and your language as well.
Thank you very much.